Hi, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you why I think homeschool planning is overrated. So if you enjoy this type of content and other homeschool content, remember to subscribe and let's get into it. Okay, so this video is an open collaboration video with Abby from Rooted in Rest and Jessica from the Waldock Way. And every month they do these open collaboration videos and it's a lot of fun. And so there'll be a playlist linked down below of other homeschool moms here on YouTube sharing their different ideas. So make sure to check that out. And when I saw this month's topic, which is homeschool planning, I was just like, I didn't know what to talk about because my homeschool planning has evolved over time into basically not homeschool planning. And so this is just gonna be a little bit of a chatty video talking about the evolution of my homeschool planning philosophy. And so maybe grab something to do or, maybe do some cleaning and listen to me talk about homeschool planning. Okay. So how do I homeschool plan? I don't. I basically don't, which anybody who knows me personally here on YouTube knows that is very unlike me. I am pretty meticulous. I like to have things thought out. Not always like super crazy, but I like to have a plan. I'd like to know what's going on. I was always the one in school that had my assignments done at least a week before they were due. I had checked them and double checked and triple checked everything with my papers and everything. Like that's just how I am. But with homeschool, I am not that way anymore. I feel like when we first started homeschooling, we were kind of thrown into it when my oldest was in kindergarten. And so I didn't necessarily have a plan anyways, and he's in kindergarten, so we didn't have to do a whole lot. I just kind of grabbed curriculum here and there, and it was pretty simple and basic. And then as the years went on and we got a few more kids, that I was trying to plan for, I tried to be more meticulous about it. I'd sit down and plan out a schedule. And one year even, I used like an online planning thing. I went through and I put in all the lesson plans, like every single day, this is what we're gonna do. And basically like approximate times we were gonna do them. And all these, like for the whole year. It took a very long time. I spent like a whole summer doing it. And guess what? The first day, it was ruined. Maybe not that, but probably. It was at least the first week. Everything was thrown off because either a child was working faster than I thought they were going to, or they're working slower than I thought they were going to, or something came up. Maybe we had an appointment that wasn't expected, or we just weren't able to get to everything that we thought we were going to. Like somehow everything was already bumped, and I didn't want to go into this calendar and have to change everything for the whole year. And so after a little bit of time, we just didn't use it anymore. I was like, this is just not working. And it wasted so much time. And so planning sometimes wastes a lot of time if you're not doing it in the right way or a way that works well for you. And so that was that experience. So I think the next year I tried to do a little bit more simplified plan, at least kind of have an idea for the year, and that sort of worked. But then it kind of came to just like, whatever, I just don't care. And we picked curriculums, like The Good and the Beautiful is what we're using now, that are pretty standard, like 120 lessons, which is about what will take a normal school year to finish. And so that made it pretty easy to be like, okay, if we start at this time, which we usually always start homeschool either the day after Labor Day or the week after Labor Day. That's just how we've done it for several years. And then we stop right before Memorial Day. And that's just very easy for me to remember. And 120 lessons you should be able to get through in that time, even with some breaks in between. But here's another thing with those breaks and things like that, I don't have to plan those into our year. I'm like, if we need a break, or if public school is taking a break, we usually take breaks when they do, just because there's some friends in the neighborhood and so that my kids can play with them when they're on break. But I just don't really care if we finish all of our curriculum by the end of the year, or if my kids are done early or if they're done late. And so I don't plan the breaks into our schedule, and say, okay, well, if we take a week break here, that means we have to start a week earlier or whatever. We can't take a break here because then we won't have enough time to finish our lessons. I'm very much like, if my kids one day want to do another lesson, or if they make it through a math lesson really fast and seem eager to learn more, we will do another lesson, even if that throws us off at the end of the year. And if my kids finish what they're working on, like if they finished level 2 math, we would move on to level 3. I am not one that stretches it out and uses fillers because I want my kids to not be bored. I want them to learn at their own pace and be excited for learning. And so that's kind of how we do that. And then just a few more comments on this before we move to the few things that I do plan is my state doesn't require any sort of accountability. So that also allows me to be very flexible in how I do things. I don't have to tell them like attendance. I don't have to tell them what we're finishing. Like all they require is an affidavit and that's it. And that just has to be something signed and notarized. And that's all I have to do. And so if you live in a state where more is required, obviously you might have to plan more and be a little bit more meticulous about it. But since I don't need to, I just don't worry about it because it just kind of stresses me out. And when we first started homeschooling, after we kind of got oriented that first year with kindergarten, I spent my evenings doing homeschool prep all the time. I was like, okay, we gotta do all the crafts, we gotta do all this, and it was just like tons of stuff. I'd prep and prep and prep and prep stuff, and guess what? We get to like one thing. You know, I spent all these hours prepping all these things, but some things take longer, or again, like they might take longer on their math, and so we don't have as much time to do an activity, or whatever. You know, I don't have a set time anymore for doing things. Usually it's like we start at 9, we get done at noon, or around about there. But I don't have like, we do math from this time, and then we do typing at this time and language arts at this time. It's kind of just work at your own pace within that block schedule. And that's so much better for us and so much better for me. I don't spend my evenings prepping homeschool stuff anymore. And it's actually very, very nice because it was so much time. I had so many things. I probably spent like too much money, right? Thinking I had to plan all these things, and we just never used it. And so simpler was better, and simpler now has become a lot better. Okay, so there's 2-ish things that I kind of plan for in our homeschool. So one of them is Friday activities, and not all Friday activities, because Friday's kind of our just extra day of the week where we will just either go on a hike, we might do some more game schooling, we might do a craft or like a big painting project, and then we also do lemonade time, which is like our poetry tea time. I could not get that out. And so we do that once a month, and it's usually themed around whatever's going on in that month. So like September is fall kind of stuff, you know, like fall desserts or fall food. And then October is Halloween, and November is Thanksgiving. Last year I didn't do one in December just because we already have so many treats and food and everything for Christmas. So I don't know if we're gonna do something for December this year. So I will sit down usually and plan 3 months in advance for that. And I'll just make a note. So I have these books, these notebooks. So this is from Erin Condren, and it's just a line notebook. This one is full basically. So I have a new one. This is where all my notes are for this video today. But I have a new one right here. And this one just has like the kind of graph paper, grid paper, I don't know, right here. And I'll make notes in here. This is where I just plan everything in general for videos here, or for homeschool stuff. If I need something a little bit more specific than just my general pull out a lesson, I'll put it in here and make notes about it. And so I will do that with lemonade time. I'll go through, I'll write down the month, I'll find some foods that might be fun to make, maybe some crafts and activities. We don't always do all these things. Like I don't get to all the crafts and activities, but at least I sort of have a plan, and if I need to pull something out or if my kids are bored, I have an idea in my head. And most of the stuff we already have. So it's not like I need to go buy extra supplies or anything like that, because again, that costs more money. And if we already have the supplies, I try to find activities that we can do that uses what we already have. So that is one of the things I do plan out, and it helps with my groceries too, because then I know what I need to get for groceries. The second thing that I am better at sometimes at planning than other times is our science and history curriculum. It's usually pretty straightforward, like open the book and you can just go. You don't have to plan a whole lot in advance. There are some extra activities you might have to plan for. On a good day, I will be looking out a month in advance and go through and write anything extra that I might need. And on an okay day, I will look out about a week. And then most days, it's like I sit down to teach my kids, and that's when I look at it. So sometimes there's more preparation involved and sometimes there's not. Like, it's just real life over here. There's other things going on. I'm busy. I also like to have time to myself in the evenings to kind of, you know, just calm down from the whole day of being with my kids. Something though that allows me not to have to plan so much is that I've picked curriculum that is very easy just to open up and go. There's minimal planning, and some people might not like that kind of curriculum. Some people might like it to be a little bit more unstructured and they can just do whatever they want, and that's totally fine. But I found this is what works best for us, and it makes it easy. I don't spend so much time planning, and I found that I enjoy more minimal planning when it comes to homeschooling, and that any more than being minimal with planning was wasting my time and wasting my money, and it was just causing a lot more stress than was needed. So I've just become a minimalist planner when it comes to homeschooling, and I think that intense planning is overrated. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this little bit of an inside view of what my homeschool planning looks like and why I might think it's overrated just a little bit to plan too much. And remember to check out that playlist that will be linked down below, and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.